Ich esse am Abend das Abendessen. What do you think that means, Alexis?
I eat. I eat. I forgot how to say it.
Am Abend, guten Abend. Well, when would I have that meal?
I eat. Yeah, what am I eating?
Mm-hmm. At night? In the evening? Yep. And so Abendessen is what?
I eat dinner.
Dinner. Yeah, gut. Also, ich esse in the evening das Abendessen. So we have the same exact thing going on here with Mittagessen and Abendessen. So we have evening, Essen, food, put them together, and we have evening food. Okay, we would call it dinner, of course, dîner in French. So das Frühstück, das Abendessen, das Mittagessen, das Abendessen, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And then let's look at another vocabulary word to identify another time of day. Ich schlafe. Ich schlafe in der Nacht. In der Nacht. Ich schlafe in der Nacht. And we'll bring. Was bedeutet ich schlafe in der Nacht? No.
You sleep at night?
Yeah, I sleep at night. Good. And so, who can tell me the difference between night and evening? What's the difference between night and evening? No.
Night is like from 12 to like 4 in the morning or whatever.
Sure.
And evenings from like 6 to, or like 5 to 11.
Yeah, definitely. And it'll fluctuate throughout the year depending on when the sun, what the sun is doing. So is it out later? Is it setting earlier? Is it coming out earlier in the morning? So night are really those hours that you're sleeping and it's dark and the moon is high in the sky. And then the evening is afternoon, a little bit later when the sun starts to go down. We call that dusk. And so when we would be eating dinner. So in English, it's not as big of a deal if you interchange those words, night and evening. You could say, "What are you doing tonight?" And that would mean, "Well, what are we doing after school later on? Maybe we're gonna go to skate away, something like that, to the movies." But in German, you don't want to say, "What are you doing tonight? Was machst du heute Nacht?" Because someone might look at you funny because you're going to be sleeping inevitably. Or maybe you're not, maybe you're a night owl. But it is those hours when you're normally asleep. Also, ich schlafe in der Nacht. Gut. Couple more sentences. Couple more. Oh, let's do this one first. Ich trinke. Since we're doing essen, to eat, let's introduce trinken. Ich trinke eine Cola. Ich trinke eine Cola. Alexis.
I drink Coca-Cola.
Yes, very good. I drink Coca-Cola. What about ich trinke ein Wasser? Ich trinke ein Wasser. Alexis.
I drink water.
Yeah, Wasser is water. Is that a cognate? I think so. It's a cognate. Similar. Sounds like water a little bit. Wasser, water. All right. What about ich trinke einen Apfelsaft? Apfelsaft. Alexis.
Apple juice.
Yeah, very good. Apple juice. So see how it's not that hard to identify drinks in German because we can relate them to the drinks that what we know in English. The words are similar. Okay, so apple, Apfel, Saft instead of juice. Alright, gut. And let's look at, so that was, what person are we saying when we're using ich in a sentence? What person is that?
Like myself or I.
And so, say it again? First person, exactly. So first person, what would, if I transition to meine Familie, what person would that be? Say, you got it, say it again. Third person, very good. Because we're talking about somebody else. So we're in the third person. So meine Familie isst am Morgen Frühstück. Meine Familie isst am Morgen Frühstück. So what does that mean? Alexis.
My family, in the morning, my family eats breakfast.
Exactly, good. So why did I use ist instead of essen? Nick.
Because ist ends in a T, and that's for third person, and S is first person.
Very good, exactly. So if you look back there, the subject pronouns are in the left column in the yellow, and the verbs on the right column. The verbs are all different, but the endings are the endings that correspond to first, second, third person, and whether or not it's singular or plural. All right, so we have the third person back there would be Z, er, S, or she, he, it. Meine Familie would be replaced with what pronoun if we were it to change it with a pronoun? What would I use? If I was talking about my family in a paragraph over and over and over again, and I wanted to use a pronoun instead so I wasn't being repetitive. This one's a little bit difficult to think about because you would want to say they, right? They, my family, there's more than one person. I'm going to call them they. But actually,
Oh, we.
Mm.
That would be one.
that would be my family and I. But if I was just talking about my family acts as one of those group words that is actually singular. So you would say my family is. You wouldn't say my family are, even though it might sound strange. So third person singular, meine Familie ist. And then the I and the E are different. Did you notice that? So essen is an irregular verb. So we don't learn irregular verbs toward the beginning because they have something that changes in the verb when the person changes. So in the second and third person, the E changes to an I. Okay, and we're not worried as much right now about irregular verbs specifically, just so that you know why that happened. But we'll talk about them next year in 8th grade, and then you'll really get into them in 9th grade in German too. All right, so let's look at the graphic organizer in front of you now. We should be able to identify these times a day, or at least most of them, right? Why do you think I put in der Nacht above am Morgen? If I'm going in order here. Nick?
Because in the day, that's when it starts at 12. And 12.
Yeah, exactly. So the day starts at 12 a.m. So it really starts in the nighttime. Okay, so let's have a look at the chart. All right, so we have 8 a.m., 10 a.m., 12 p.m., 2 p.m., and 5 p.m. Who wants to tell me? You can pick any of the times and tell me which time of day would fit into one of those sections, one of those boxes. Nick.
AM would fit in the last one with the grid.
Very good.
Or at 5
Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna type am Abend. Am Abend. And I will always, always, always encourage you to use your stylus and to write stuff out. Um, because when you have I explained this to this class yet? When you write your letters, your certain neurons in your brain are firing. Different neurons in your brain are firing than the ones that when you just punch a key, right? So this motion here is much less complicated than me writing that character and identifying that as a letter. And then me thinking about a word, let alone a word in another language, right? So you're switching meanings from one language to the next. That also sets off different neurons in your brain, which are very good for you. So if I'm writing all these characters, there's a lot more dynamic processes that are happening in our brain than if I'm just punching the A and then the B and then the E and D. So really this year we're getting cheated out of that brain development, that growth from writing. Writing is so important, just like reading is so vitally important to all of us, to children and adults. So I encourage you when, think about it, using your stylus. I know it's a lot easier to punch buttons, but use that stylus sometimes. Get your writing practicing. Okay, so good. Am Abend. Wunderbar. How about another one? Alexis. How about another one? We have Am Abend for 5 p.m.
Vormittag,
Vormittag. Where do you think that goes?
before noon.
Very good. Which time?
10 a.m.
Yes, nice job. So that one we didn't even learn. How did you know Vormittag was 10 a.m. and not 2 p.m.?
Because I knew Nachmittag comes after midtime.
Very good. So we have learned that one, right? Awesome. Nice job. What, Tiara, what about another one? Morgan? I'm Morgan. And where should I put that? Wunderbar. Dankeschön. Morgan. And Kiara, what do you think about another one?
In der Nacht at the bottom.
Wunderbar. Gut. In der Nacht. Perfect. What about the last two? Nick.
Mittag and Mittag at 12.
Sehr gut. Which leaves us with Nachmittag for the last one. Dankeschön. All right. Very good. So when you're done with that, please submit that. And then we are going to play a game. And I wanted to do a book it, but it's doing the same thing yesterday. It was real slow. So we'll see if it'll work for us. Otherwise, we'll play a game kit or something like that. Is there any questions about the time of day or word order? Excuse me. Let's go over word order before we play a game. So in English and in German, you have organization to your sentences, right? We can't just say our sentences any way we want to, right? So we can't put our verbs and our subjects and our prepositions and our adjectives and adverbs any way we want to, right? We have to have some kind of structure for it. So we're going to talk about that in German.